love that, Judy. You know, Greg Braden says something like, hurt is the teacher and wisdom is the answer. And that's kind of what you went through this week. And that's so true. It's like everything that goes on in your life, all these pains and things you go through, you know, if you can work it through, you come out a better human because of it. And that's the creative process. That's the whole creative process. So my dad was in the Navy in World War II, and he was on a ship in New Guinea. And he told me the story when I was a little kid, and I think about it every so often. When he was working on the ship, he, I don't know how this happened, but he fell overboard and was hanging on the edge of the ship, and nobody was around. And his knuckles were white, and he thought he was dying, right? You know, he was just like paralyzed. And he said all of a sudden, this flash of life review went through him. It's just, he said, I asked him about that, you know, what happened. I mean, later on it was okay, somebody found him, but he'll never forget that. He said that in an instant, that everything that he ever did, he felt. And everything, at the time he must have been just in his 20s or something like that, but this whole life review. And I kind of knew about it a little bit because I studied a little bit of the traditions. But now that I look into it, I know that every tradition talks about that. You know, they talk about going through this this life review at the end of our life, or you know, after we die. And it's almost like you get a report card, right? So I was thinking about this, you know, in our lives. And in the, I think it's a Jewish tradition, that there's a couple questions that you're asked. And the first question is, how'd you treat other people? You know, were you in integrity? Were you kind? Were you compassionate? So that's probably the number one question. And the number two question, which I think is interesting, is, were you while you were alive? See, and I kind of have to think about that. Were you? Were you Marilyn? So if you're looking at your life, were you really Marilyn, or were you a smaller version of somebody else, somebody that maybe your parents wanted you to be something else? But did you create the life that you were supposed to create? And that's what I kind of want to talk about today, because we were given these gifts, these divine attributes of the Creator, which is us, and we were given these gifts to create uniquely. So each of us has this incredible Creator in our life, and we have to look at our lives and say, what did we create? You know, what are we creating now? You know, and are you using your God-given gifts to create? And am I being what I was intended to be? Because I think everybody was intended to be. Not to do something. I'm not talking about finding the right occupation, you know, not to do, but I'm talking about being the best you that you could ever be. So I had to think, well, what are these attributes of God? And it's what we talk about here all the time. You know, it's love, it's wisdom, you know, it's beauty. You know, yell out some covenant words, you guys, the ones that have covenant, that tell me that some of your words.
Compassion.
Trust, compassion.
Thoughtful.
Magnificence. Integrity, wisdom. See, these are the God qualities, and they're in all of us, but they're unique to some of us. And are we using them as we look at our life? So if we had a life review, could we say, I was compassion in the world. I was kindness in the world. I was magnificence in the world. So that's going to be our invitation, is to live with the end in mind, right? What have I given? And we have time to do that now. You know, not so much that anybody's judging us. I don't think that happens. I don't think that we get judged by the big Creator up there. I don't believe that. I think that we look at our life and we see what we contributed to this we. Or was it all about me? And as we evolve, it becomes all about we. So we were given the tools. We're given the tools to create. We were given the wisdom. And we were given the place to create. And I really like this. This life of ours is extraordinary. And we are blessed beyond measure to have taken on human birth. As painful as it has been, I know for me at times, and I know for you, we are so blessed to be able to create in this world today. So your tools, the tools that we have to create the life, are our thoughts, are our emotions, and are our feelings. That's how we create. The traditions have told us this for years. Science is now telling us that. We have the wisdom within us. We have a piece of the divine within us. We have our God selves that we create. And we have the field that you heard Greg Braden talk about. We have this field, this divine matrix, this energy, this space of God. And that's where we create. That's where we create. I love this. So I was looking and thinking about this as I was looking up at the wall, embrace humanity, express divinity. Those are the questions. Did you embrace your humanity, embrace humanity of everybody else, and did you express your divinity? Uniquely as you, did you do that? If you did, then our life would be extraordinary all the time. Even during the painful times, during the suffering. So why do we suffer then? If we have all these tools to make this perfect life, right? Why do we suffer? And what the traditions tell us is that because we forgot who we were. We forgot who we were. We became disconnected from our source. We became disconnected from our heart space. You know, in Greg Braden, did you love that? Greg Braden talks about our heart space, and our heart space connects with this field, and we get what we put out. See? And if we're creating with our emotions, and if we're feeling this incredible connection of love, of caring, that's what we get back. When we have a negative, angry attitude, that's what we get back. It's a mirror. And the truth is that it's a choice. Our life is always a choice. And we have to get that, see? We have to see it differently. We have to see with bigger eyes, with higher perceptions. We have to get it that right now, we create, many of us, and me included, all of us, at times create at the level of ego. Maybe more than not. And when we get it, that when we're connected to Source, we create at a higher level, our lives change. When we come from those qualities of magnificence, of love, of honor, when we come from that, we create at a higher level. And that's what we get back. We have that choice. See, the more we raise our consciousness, the better creation that we have. We become bigger and better. We use our heart space to connect. And we connect in this incredible field of the divine matrix. Every time I hear that, I get these chills, because I think, like, right here is this space of creation. And all we do is breathe into it with the connection and the love. And it breathes back to us what we need. If you don't feel very abundant, you've got to start to feel what you are abundant in, so that it's reflected back to you. See, we were intended. There's a book, Wayne Dyer, The Power of Intention. And what he's talking about is we are intended. You were intended to be here. It's like Judy said, that you matter. You matter so much. There isn't anybody that doesn't. You were not ever born out of accident. You were here because you were supposed to be here. You were intended, just as an acorn is intended to be an oak tree, and a little blossom, apple blossom, is intended to be this big, beautiful tree. We were intended to be extraordinary, magnificent beings. That's what we were intended to be. It's this intention that directs our growth process. You know, we don't have to do anything, do we? Our fingernails just grow. You know, our hairs grow. Everything just goes. It grows. We don't have to do anything. Our wrinkles, we didn't have to do anything to get those wrinkles, did we? They just are there. They're just there. It's part of the process. It's part of the process. The divine process, by the way. I keep saying that, divine process. Okay? And the truth is that we are connected to this force. And the only thing that can deactivate it is when we turn away from it. We have this, I think Judy mentioned it, this, I don't know what you called it, it's like a future pole, but it's this evolutionary yearning to be whole. The truth is, we already are whole. It's just that we have this desire to know it, to know our wholeness. We have a desire to be complete, to know that we're complete. And when we are aligned with Source, that's what happens. We put it out there and it comes back to us. It gives us back in form what we think about, what we feel in our hearts. I love the idea of the heart. You know, whatever we wish to experience, we've got to embody, we've got to be it. In the Lost Mode of Prayer, Greg Braden, I've got to read you what he said. I like this kind of stuff. It's maybe some of you don't, but to me, it touches my heart because it just makes me so excited that we're finding out, that science is finding out what 5,000 years of tradition has told us. And here's what he says. Late in the 20th century, experiments confirmed that we're bathed in a field of energy that connects us to all events in our world. Given names that range from the quantum hologram to the mind of God, research has shown us that through the energy that beliefs and prayers within us are carried out into the world. Both science and ancient tradition suggest the very same thing, that we have to embody in our lives the very condition that we wish to experience in our world. We find the instructions for a lost mode of prayer that helps us to do just that. And it was hidden away for many, many years. In the spring, he went on a journey. That's what he does. He goes on these journeys and he finds all of this ancient, he worked with the Lost Sea Scrolls. In the spring of 1998, I had the honor of facilitating a 22-day pilgrimage into the monasteries of central Tibet, searching for evidence of an ancient and forgotten form of prayer, the language that speaks to the field that unites all things. The monks and the nuns who lived there shared the instructions for a way to pray that was largely lost to the West. In the 4th century, there were biblical edits of the early Christian church, preserved for centuries in the texts and traditions of those living upon the roof of the world. This lost mode of prayer is based in feeling. Specifically, it invites us to feel our prayer. In recent years, studies have shown that this is the very quality of feeling that speaks to the universe. So when you pray, it's not about what you say. It's not about what you say. It's about what you feel inside. It's the energy that goes out. See, that heart is so big. It's got this electromagnetic field. And when you feel it, the universe feels it too. So when you pray, pray with all of your heart. Do everything with all of your heart, and that's what you get back. Through prayers of feelings, we're empowered to take part in the healing of our lives and in the healing of our relationships, as well as our bodies and the world. This is good stuff. This is big stuff. It is. This is stuff that everybody else has known for many 5,000 years. And the West just got it because the Bible was edited and those books were thrown out and just found. Just found. So what about the hurt and the pain? What about the dark nights of the soul and the pains that we go through in life? I gotta always throw that in because we all go through it. We're hurting and we have pain. So how do we just feel wonderful and then attract stuff? And that's not what he's saying. That's not what he's saying at all. He says that the love within each of us is the source of the healing, right? So when you're feeling, the dark nights, the death of people that you love, when you're feeling the sorrows of life, you're feeling maybe angry. The truth is, you gotta feel it. You gotta let it move through you. And then you have to shift. You have to bring love and acceptance to it. There has to come a time when you bring love and acceptance to what you're going through in your life. There has to be a time if you want to start to connect with the field and get it back again. See, and the truth is about hurt, and I know this in my life, is that the pain and the hurt that I have gone through in my life have made me more empathetic to other people. And I know that about Judy too, just what you went through last week. Somebody else goes through it, boy, you're right there. All of us. That's what hurt is. It's a teacher. And it's our wisdom that is the answer. There's no accidents in life. You're to go through what you're going through because you are capable of it. You wouldn't be in any position that you're in if you couldn't handle it. I know that with all my heart. He says the greatest challenges of our life only happen when and only when we have everything that we need to survive. So anything that you're going through in life, you can survive it because you have the tools. You have the wisdom and you have enough love inside of you. You have the magnificence inside of you. And the only way that it doesn't work is when we think we are separate from it. When we think that there's something outside of us and it's not here. It's right here within us all the time. It's within you, it's within me. It's infinite, it's eternal. You're infinite and you're eternal. So how you doing? Look at your life. see where you are. And if it's like me, there's a little of both, you know. I'm doing pretty good sometimes. Sometimes I'm not doing so well. We have to look at our life and see when we're connected to our source. But we know we are connected when we are enthusiastic, when we are filled with joy, when we know there is a sense of possibility, when we know that there is an awe about life, about the beauty. I mean, are you in awe of this like beauty? I'm sorry, I just think this sanctuary is so beautiful. You know, it is, you know, and a sense of humility, okay? That too, right? That's part of it. You have to have a sense of humility, right? Of generosity, of joy, of passion, and most of all, this sense of belonging to each other, right? Knowing that it's about we, that I of myself do nothing, that it took all of us to create. See, that's what it's about. We're so connected that not one person can do anything. It takes all of us to do it. And that's my prayer for all of us, that we step back and we see everything from this huge, big, higher perspective, that we don't focus in on just the little things in life. We open to the perspective and see it all, that it works together. My prayer is that we embrace our humanity and express our divinity, and that each of us make a little bit of a difference in this world. And we do. Thank you.